We're going for a walk back in time today, down a huge hill to Rose Island. We're in Charlestown, Indiana today. I'm Terry.
And I'm Keith.
Rose Island was a resort destination from the 1920s and 30s. Join us as we step back in time.
Welcome to Rose Island. My name is Lydia and I'll be your guide today. They called it Fern Grove. It was originally called that from 1880 until 1923. And during that time, it was primarily just used as a picnic area for church groups and community organizations. There were 100 picnic tables, a dining hall, a dance hall, and a hotel. This is the site of the suspension bridge. Rose Island itself and Fern Grove were primarily attended by people coming across on the ferries. However, people from Charlestown, it would take them an hour to drive down to Jeffersonville, where the closest ferry came from, and then a 2-hour boat ride upriver to Rose Island. So people didn't come here from Charlestown as often as you would expect. So he put in a small suspension bridge. The road that you guys walked down, that is the original road. We've obviously paved it. Was Mr. Rose. Two of the first things he put in were a power plant and a water treatment plant and ice factory. And he would pay his employees every morning or every couple of days to bring big blocks of ice over from the ice plant, put them in this big cooler. There was a wooden lid on the top that hinged on this side, latched on that side, had spigots in each one of these holes, closed the lid, said it was fresh spring water, and he made his money in advertising, and he was good at advertising, and people trusted advertisers a little bit more back then. This is the Walkway of Roses. This is the trail that everyone who came to Rose Island would have walked down. And they would have either gone up to the hotel or walked down the Walkway of Roses to get down here to all of the attractions and the picnic tables and everything else. Those columns are not the originals, unfortunately. The originals did reach from the entire length from here all the way down to the main entrance. They were slightly smaller and had a string of lights that stretched down the middle of each of the columns. The rocks that I'm standing on right now that go along the sides, those are original as well. We know this is our second oldest artifact because we have a picture of a little boy standing on top of it whenever it was relatively newly built. It was totally enclosed, like a cone, and the back of the picture says Fern Grove 1884. It was the decorative fountain and wishing well.
This is the site of the dance hall, one of the original structures that washed away in the 1937 flood because it had a wood foundation instead of concrete.
Here's the dining hall. The dance hall was the first. The dining hall is the second of the 3 structures that were built during the time of Fern Grove and then maintained throughout Rose Island. Like the dance hall, the dining hall was not built with a concrete foundation, so there is nothing that remains. When it was opened, 500 people could eat in the dining hall at the same time. Because Mr. Rose was able to provide his own electricity, his own clean and cold water, his own food, basically everything he needed to run Rose Island, he was able to keep Rose Island open during the Depression. However, the flood came through and wiped it out, and because everything was on the banks of the river here or the banks of the river over there, he was financially ruined, unfortunately, by the flood. We are now at least where our sign is for the cottages. The cottages did stretch the entire length of the Walkway of Roses. Rose put in the cottages whenever he first opened Rose Island. So he put in 22 cottages. They were all identical, had the same floor plan. Just part of the draw of what Rose Island was. You're going on an exotic island getaway and there's electricity and there's indoor plumbing and clean, cold water. This is the main entrance where everybody who came to Rose Island would have entered. They would have come in underneath those 3 columns down there. Those are the originals. And it's all the original concrete. On top of each of the columns with a Gothic style lantern and then a sign that read Rose Island. gone down the Walkway of Roses to all of the attractions, or gone up to the hotel. The hotel is the third building that was built during the time of Fern Grove. It was called the Fern Cliff Inn, and then also the hotel kind of just washed down the river with everything else.
This was an 1.5-hour walking tour, and it was so informative. You could just imagine this place filled with people back in its day.
The largest cage was 20 foot by 20 foot, which held the largest animal, which was the black bear. They had native animals, raccoons, opossums, things like that, and then non-native animals like the bear. They had wolves, they had monkeys, all kinds of other animals that you come see. The remains of the cages are right there. As you can see, the floodwater didn't quite get up there. Rose Island had 2 rides. One of them was a merry-go-round. The other ride was a small wooden roller coaster. Those are the only 2 rides. So Rose Island wasn't really an amusement park. It was kind of lumped in with all of the more amusement park type places along the river. It was more of a resort destination type getaway. So, as nearly all of you have pointed out, this is quite a large swimming pool. It is 40 feet by 100 feet long. It was 4 feet deep on this end and 8 feet deep on that end, which means it was Olympic size. It is the first and only outdoor filtered swimming pool at the time in the Midwest. Because there was no drainage on the bottom of the pool, it still held water up until 2013. The concrete was still fully intact until we decided to drill through it. That definitely was a safety hazard and also is a gigantic Olympic-sized mosquito pit. Pool. It is not a hot tub or a sauna, which is what I usually get, but it was the concession stand. You could come over here and you could buy concessions, general concession stand things. Swimming pool, it was the first and only swimming pool in the Midwest. Anytime you would be going swimming anywhere other than a swimming pool, you just jumped in your clothes. So you didn't necessarily have all of the supplies that you needed to go swimming in public, including one of those big full body itchy wool swimming suits. So you could come over here to the concession stand and rent one. You would swim in the pool in the river for the day, return it, they would rinse it out in the trough of water right here, and then rent it out to the next person. And for our oldest artifacts, which are our picnic tables. So these are the remains of 4 of the original picnic tables that were put in during the time of Fern Grove. There were 100 of them. There are 4 of them right here remaining. They were built down into the ground, so obviously a lot more sturdy than our picnic tables nowadays. Wood is American chestnut, which is termite resistant. And for added flavor to your lunch, your picnic, there is blue lead paint on all of the picnic tables. There is one more as we go out of the woods. That's the bridge right there. We're gonna turn to our left. Keep looking to your left. There is a mowed out area where you can still see a picnic table that you could sit on and have a picnic at nowadays. Please do not, it is over 140 years old. There is sometimes poison ivy on it. There is all the time lead paint on it.
So much for joining us today on our tour of Rose Island. It was so interesting. We loved it.
Man, our tour guide, she was so awesome. Guys, if you're ever in Charlestown, Indiana, you have got to check this place out. If you would, go ahead and push that subscribe button right over there. Give this video a big thumbs up. And as always, please share these videos with your friend.
We'll see you next time on
Retired and Loving It.